Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video we're looking at some wild Theorycraft decks made by myself as well as members of the wild community. We start off with Odd Demon Hunter by Pace. So this list is running Urzel Giant, 13/8/8 Demon, costs 1 less for each friendly minion that died this game. And so this build is more all in on having lots of tokens, lots of little minions on board that will die. So that's why we see cards like Firefly, Mekaru, Murami, Command the Illidari to get those giants down to minimal cost, preferably 0. Looking at Druid, we've got this Celestial Alignment build by Theorycraft. Now, how this build works is you want to basically play Celestial Alignment, and then you want to play Mr. Smites. You want to play Germination to get multiple Mr. Smites. You could also use Solar Eclipse so that the Germinations are played multiple times. As for new cards in the list, you've got Capture Cold Tooth Mine. So this is a 2-mana choose one, draw your lowest cost card or draw your highest cost card. I'm not quite sure how this would work if Celestial Alignment made everything cost 1. I guess you would just draw a random card, or maybe it gives you 2 that you can pick for 1 mana. Not really sure. I guess we'll find out. The other new card is Wild Heart Guff, 5 mana hero, gain 5 armor, battle cry, set your maximum mana to 20, gain a mana crystal, draw a card. So this lets you, of course, have extra mana if you are struggling to get to your Celestial Alignment, or you would just have to basically be able to play 20 cards worth of stuff if you ramp up that high after playing Celestial Alignment. The hero power is also pretty incredible. Choose one, draw a card, or gain a mana crystal. So this is a very valuable tool to have. Looking at Hunter, this is a build of Even Hunter that I came up with. So I went with the very aggressive takes on Even Hunter, where you're trying to use your hero power quite a lot, and you're trying to get a lot of secrets out as quickly as possible. As for new secrets, of course I'm going to be running Ice Trap. Ice Trap is pretty insane. 2 mana secret: when your opponent casts a spell, return it to their hand instead. It costs 1 more. Big fan of that one. I'm also running Spring the Trap. It's another way of cheating out secrets outside of Mad Scientist and Phase Stalker. So Spring the Trap, 4 mana spell, deal 3 damage to a minion and cast a secret from your deck. Honorable kill, meaning that you deal exact lethal to that minion. You cast 2 secrets from your deck, which is pretty nice. This last one, we've got Beastalker Tavish. So this is a hero for 6 mana, 5 armor you gain, battlecry, discover and cast 2 improved secrets. And it's been posted online what all these improved secrets look like. But I just feel like it's a nice card to have in the list. It is kind of clunky having the 2 6-drops, I understand. But also the hero power is pretty good. Summon a pet. So you're either going to get Leok, Misha, or Huffer. Preferably Huffer. So it's just a nice little inclusion. Maybe it's not good, but I want to give it a try just to see how it goes. Next we have Beast Hunter. This is from players whose name I obviously cannot pronounce, who plays on the China server. So this is Beast Hunter. This is a list that's kind of popped in and out of the meta over time. It's always been kind of in the tier 3-4 area when it has popped onto tier lists. But basically, what makes this deck get a little bit of extra power is Storm Pike Battle Ram, 4 mana 4/3 beast with Rush, Death Rattle. Your next beast costs 2 less, so that's giving you some much needed mana cheat that Hunter can work with. And similar to the previous list of Even Hunter, we've got the Beastalker Tavish. This probably synergizes a lot better with this list compared to the secret list. So definitely a good one to have on hand. Moving to Mage, we have Luna's Pocket Galaxy Mage by Killer Raccoon. It's a Reno list. Killer Raccoon is known for constructing the greediest Reno Mage lists you've ever seen. So as you can see, it's actually not as greedy as his usual builds. There are no 10 drops. But it is a Luna's Pocket Galaxy list. It's running a bunch of new cards. It is running Spammy Arcanist. Basically, every class has Defile now. So you're paying 5 mana for a Defile, and you get a 3/4. We've got Belinda Stonehearth, 6 mana 5/5. Battlecry, draw 2 spells. Swap their costs with this minion's stats. So this is a great way to get to your Luna's Pocket Galaxy if you haven't got there already. Keep in mind, there are ways to play Luna's Pocket Galaxy for cheaper than 7. For example, Dragoncaster. If you're holding a dragon, your next spell this turn costs 0. So if Luna's Pocket Galaxy does cost 7 or more, that'll help you out a little bit. And of course, Mass Polymorph. There's another one coming up too, but Mass Polymorph, this card's insane. This basically really helps you out in the big priest matchups or the big demon matchups. Maybe you're up against a cube lock or a Reno lock. Or even if, a Giants Warlock spams a whole bunch of 8/8s on board, gets rid of those. It's also great if your Kazakus Potion doesn't work out, the 10 mana one. And the last one here, Rune of the Archmage, 9 mana spell, cast 20 mana worth of mage spells at enemies. So I personally think Puzzle Box is better, but this is new and it's fun to run new things. So it's in there just to give it a shot. Also keep in mind you could play it cheaper off the Dragoncaster if you needed to. Looking at Paladin, we've got a Handbuff Paladin by Larat. So this is a very aggressive list, caps out at 5 for Loatheb. As for new cards, you've got Iron Deep Trog, 1 mana 1/2. After your opponent casts a spell, summon a copy of this. So keep in mind, you could hand buff this in hand, slam it down, and then you can get a lot of them if your opponent is a spell heavy deck. We've got Sidon or Sadin the Scarlet, 3 mana 2/2 rush. Whenever this minion gains attack or health, double that amount wherever it is. So this is great because it's not just a hand buff card, it's a deck buff card. And it also gets some extra buffs on board as well, though it doesn't look like this list is running any buffs from hand, like Conviction. But if you were going to run those sort of cards, that would help as well. And then last here we've got Korak the Blood Rager, 4 mana 3/5. Death Rattle, if this wasn't Honorably Killed, resummon Korak. Now, I'm pretty sure it would be resummoned at its original cost of 3/5, but it is a pretty irritating minion to have to deal with, so it's a nice one to have in the deck. Moving on to Priest, we have Big Priest. So this is by my cousin Sluzzle699. You might know him as playing some of the most degenerate decks in Wild. He's opting to play Gift of the Naru. This is a 1 mana spell, restore 3 health to all characters. If any is still damaged, draw a card. I think this would be useful if you're really trying to cycle into your Shadow Essence and it's not working out your way. Maybe you just need to get a Visions to get into that Shadow Essence. Maybe you just need to survive a little bit, so it's nice to have in there. The other card in here is Zarella the Devout. 8 mana hero, 5 armor gain, battle cry, trigger the death rattle of every friendly minion that died this game. So in this case, the death rattle minions here would be the Scrapyard Colossuses. Maybe Sluzzle should run a Moag in here instead as well. That might be a good idea. Maybe even but it does say trigger the death rattle. So you get some 7/7 taunts. If you were running Moag, you get 8 armor. If you're running Obsidian Statue, it would kill things. So there's definitely some room to play around with this one. As for the hero power, it flips each turn. So it's either going to be restore 5 health or deal 5 damage. So it's kind of like a Mind Blast every second turn, or just a way to not die yourself, or heal your board a bit. Moving on to Rogue, we've got Odd Rogue. This is a list made by multiple Legend players collaboratively, and it's not, I mean, it's only running one new card, Double Agent. Double Agent, 3 mana, 3/3 Battlecry. If you're holding a card from another class, summon a copy of this. And so, to help get more synergy with this card, you're running Swashbuckler, which you don't typically run in Odd Rogue anymore. You're running One Thief, which is pretty staple. Blink Fox, which you don't typically run that much. But it's basically just Odd Rogue with some little bit of fun in it. And this is definitely a list that I'm going to be trying for sure. Moving on to Shaman, we have Reno Shaman by Dusty Scales, very avid Shaman player. As for the new cards, you got the Wind Chill, which is insane. 1 mana, freeze a minion, draw a card. Who wouldn't want that? You've got Sleep Breaker, 2 mana, 3/2 elemental, Battlecry, add a Wind Chill to your hand. Considering how nuts this card is, you get another one off this, which is great. You've got Herald the Lockhalar, 4 mana, 3/5 Battlecry, draw a Frost spell. This is great, for example, to get your Ice Fishing if you're desperate to clear a board in the mid game. You've got Snowfall Guardian, 5 mana, 3/3 Battlecry, freeze all other minions, gain +1/+1 for each frozen minion. So if you're playing a very board-centric matchup, this can be very big for 5 mana. And you got Spammy Arcanist again. Now, every class gets to file now. This is a great one to have. And keep in mind, a lot of these new cards, they've also got great synergies with Brilliant Macaw to play the Battlecry again, bouncing it back with Zola, things like that. But buffing up the value of Shudderwock. So yeah, Shaman got some pretty insane tools from this expansion. Another Shaman deck, which might end up being really good, is Galakron Shaman. Again, this was also made by multiple wild community players. So as we can see, it's running the Wind Chill, it's running the Sleep Breaker. You'd be crazy not to run those. It's running Snowblind Harpy, 3 mana, 3/4 Battlecry. If you're holding a Frost spell, gain 5 armor. This is not a bad card to run because it has premium stats, but also Galakron Shaman can get whacked down pretty fast. So just getting a bit of extra armor and having something to deal with the board interactively is nice. And you're also running Biran Geoshir, 7 mana, 6/6 Battlecry. For each Frost spell you've cast this game, summon a 3/4 elemental that freezes. So essentially you are playing a lot of Frost spells in this deck. So this just helps give you a board. It might not actually be that useful. I'm not a huge fan of this card myself, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, this one's in here just for synergy reasons. Plus the Shudderwock, it's another Battlecry for Shudderwock. Moving on to Warlock, we've got Cube Warlock. Cube Warlock's in a pretty awful spot right now. It dies very easily. However, Killer Raccoon is trying to revitalize the list by running Sacrificial Summoner, 3 mana, 3/3 Battlecry. Destroy a friendly minion. Summon a minion from your deck that costs 1 more. So keep in mind, this can sometimes be good, but also sometimes be bad. So for example, if you destroy your Void Caller, it's going to pull a cube from your deck, which you may not want to have happen. However, if you, say, destroy your Enhanced Dreadlord, which you may have already cheated out previously, it pulls out a Void Lord, which is nice. Again, you got to be careful. I don't know why you want to do this, but if for some reason you're crazy and you destroy your Void Lord, it's going to pull out N'Zoth, which will make you unhappy. So maybe you don't destroy your Void Lord. But definitely give it a try. Maybe it'll be good. Even Warlock. This is a list by Maxadonna. This is pretty much the stock Even Lock list people are playing. Yes, there's a Recombobulator in there. It's actually pretty cool. putting it on your null, you might get, you know, an Avianum, for example, which is nuts, or it's just good to heal up your stuff. But as for new cards, you've got Alokala the Ice Lord, 10 mana 8/8 Elemental, Rush, Wind Fury, costs 5 less if you have 15 health or less. You typically don't have a lot of health when you play Even Lock, so basically this is the 5 mana 8/8 Rush, Wind Fury. Not bad. Last but not least, we've got a Reno Warlock that I came up with. It's not running a ton of new cards. It's running the Sacrificial Summoner for the same reason as the Cube Lock list previously. And it's also running Spammy Arcanist, which is basically giving you a second Defile. But otherwise, it's just a pretty sensible, everyday Reno Lock list, if Reno Lock is your thing. I'd recommend giving this list a try. If you want to try any of these lists once the expansion launches, you'll find all of the deck codes in the description below. And if you're a mobile user and it's difficult for you to copy those deck codes, you can type in the link to my Discord in the description below, visit the deck lists only channel, and it is much easier to copy the deck codes in there. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watching all the way to the end of this video. And if you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.